Hello, and welcome to Flosstube number 2. My name is Michelle Howard, Corpus Christi cross stitcher, and I'd like to welcome you. Some of you may be returning because I did have my first Flosstube 2 weeks ago. Some of you, this may be the first time. Welcome to all of you. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Let's share making pretty things. That being said, I'm going to go right into business of Flosstube. So my first order of business today is last time I was going to share this chart with somebody. I have 2 of them. I bought them both from the source, Margaret and Margaret of McKinney, Texas. And I don't know why I bought 2, but I think that it was the universe telling me that you were going to do a Flosstube one day and you would have a giveaway without having to really stretch your imagination. So this giveaway is going to commenter Laura King at LLKing50. And so Laura, if you will email me at corpuschristicrossstitcher@gmail.com, and that information is in the details below, then we will get about the business of making sure you get your chart. And since I have one and you have one, maybe we want to start something here. A Noah's Ark, Sal, that would be fun. A lot of people like to stitch Noah's Ark. One of my favorite Flosstubers is Niecy Lynn, and she pretty much keeps a Noah's Ark in her rotation. So anyway, Laura King at LLKing50 is the information I have on you. Thank you for commenting, Laura. Congratulations. So what have I been up to in the world of cross stitch the last 2 weeks? I feel like I've been busy. I've been able to cross stitch every day. One day was very short, of like 20 minutes, but 20 minutes sometimes is all you get. And that means that was the day that's all you needed, right? Or me, that's how I see it. I had plenty of other things to keep me busy that day. So I am going to start with, I watch quite a bit of Flosstube, and a lot of people are stitching Teresa Kogut. And I have a pattern. I have a Teresa Kogut pattern that I got in San Antonio, Texas. Let me just turn my notes over because I went back to my comments to find Laura's name. Yeah, Teresa Kogut, and I was in San Antonio, and Stitches from the Heart in San Antonio, Texas, used to be a cross stitch store. It's no more, but I was fortunate enough to be able to visit it before it closed. Teresa Kogut was one of the ones as a returning cross stitcher that I had started watching on Flosstube. And so I picked up this chart that day, Heaven and Earth Sampler. And isn't that just beautiful? Well, and I bought the fabric while I was there. It's going to be a 40 count linen, which I have no trouble with linen. I've stitched pretty much on linen and other fabrics for a long time, but that was a return piece. And I got home, I got all the floss while I was there too. It was the DMC version, and the DMC called for us. And I got home and I was so excited and started stitching. And see how curvy all this is, the border and stuff. I could not get those counts right for anything, and I had to put it down. So I put it down for a couple of years now. But the other day, I was watching somebody with a Teresa Kogut piece, and you know, her artwork is just divine. And I just thought, I haven't tried mine for a while. Maybe I could actually do it now that I've gotten a little bit more used to And sure enough, I started in on that, in on it, and I had only gotten like one of these and some of this. So now I've added this and this, just in a morning's work, maybe 2 mornings, I can't remember. But isn't that pretty? Oh my goodness, those colors, the deepness of the gold, the green, and the red together in that vine is so scrumptious. And this linen is just amazing. It's amazing. So I had fun doing that. A little bit of a segue, unexpected kind of a trip, journey, part of my journey. Just really had fun stitching on that for them, and was so happy to see that my skills have gotten better. So I think I might have jiggled the camera there a little bit. Apologize for that. So then we took a little trip to Pleasanton, Texas for Easter. That's where my daughter lives and my granddaughter. And so we got to spend the night with her. She's 9. She's delightful. If I can find that my skills are good enough, I'll insert a couple of pictures of Easter, because my other daughter and our other 2 grandchildren joined us on Easter Day, and they just have such a fun time together. 2 9-year-olds and a 6-year-old, and so we try to get them together as often as we can. So in the car, I like to stitch on Mill Hill kits because of the perforated paper, and it just seems something that I can do while I am in the car, and I can keep busy. You know, sitting around just watching my husband drive is probably not the best thing for me to be doing. And so not that he's not a good driver, he is. He's a great driver. But, you know, my mind just does things. And I have to pray a lot. So it's better for me to cross stitch. And so this one I've been working on for a while. It's got a lot. It's a cute little Halloween haunted mansion. I've done the haunted hotel already, and now I'm doing the haunted mansion. And so that was what I worked on the way up there. And I can't tell you what I've gotten done. Some of this down here, and I skip around because I pick a color and I like to use that color up and not keep changing my threads. But so I worked on some of this roof and some of this fill in here. And so it's just kind of random because like I said, I go by which piece of thread I'm using. So that's a fun stitch. And the thing about Mill Hill kits is you get them stitched and then you get to add all those beads. And I mean, that just adds so much to it. But alas, it's a Halloween piece. It's April. And so the next time we were in the car, I couldn't quite bring myself to go back to the Haunted Mansion. Because this was also in my car stitch bag, and that is Marine Life Quartet, and you can see it's a sea turtle. Isn't he beautiful? And look at those colors. And so you can see I probably, you know how mill kits come all, I probably put all this on this paper in the car. I probably just had it in the car, picked it up on some drive, you know, because to get anywhere in Texas takes a while. And so that's probably how it ended up here on this. But what I do is I just put them in the exact order that they appear on the chart, in the list of floss. And so I know I have to have my chart out to stitch, and the list is right there. So I always just pick up, you know, just based on the order. And then, of course, I always have the pretty little picture to check. But I had started this no telling when. Also, let me make sure. This is his tail. So these are his, and so all of this yellow green and some of the dark green, I had gotten about like one side of the dark green, so I had to go back and do this, and then fill in this. But isn't he pretty? He's fun to stitch. As a matter of fact, I picked him up again yesterday to stitch on in the house, even though I wasn't driving, because he's just a pretty turtle. So those are the two things I worked on in the car and additional. Now, my main thing, of course, is the Anniversaries of the Heart. And I'm on the 11th sampler in Anniversaries of the Heart. There's, I'll have 2 more samplers plus the bonus sampler. And so this is the one I'm choosing right now to work on. This is actually Anniversaries of the Heart number 9, Moonlight Visitor. I explained in my last video, because I'm using it's a raw kind of a linen, different from what the pattern calls for. I am choosing, I'm using my own version of colors from DMC, and all I do is I look at the picture, and I look at, and I just sit and I just put the floss out until I find colors that I think really go together and really reflect the way the picture looks. And sometimes I do have to, I do also consider my own taste, which I'm learning as I develop, because I've been working on this for over a year now, but my goal right now is to do 1 a month. And you can see I'm on track. I did really good with this. This went really fast. This is all going pretty fast. The roof. But then I got to this, and it is hard for me to stitch this color for some reason. But I just have to take my time and just keep going. So my goal is, in order to accomplish my goal, this is the piece I work on mostly during the week. On the weekends, I try to put it away to give myself a little bit of a break, because I do like to, I just want to do other things. So this is fun. I'm real proud of this. This will be in honor of my my dad's father, Adolph Berthelot, Louisiana, from the swamps of Louisiana. That's our part of my heritage. So going into that, now those are things I worked on this week in cross stitch. And so I did have a finish in cross stitch, and I consider it a finish because they're separate samplers, right? And so that was the other Anniversaries of the Heart that I showed y'all last time. And that is, I'm putting them all on one big piece of linen. I'll show you the whole thing, is this one. And so I had, I think I still had some of the house to fill in, and I needed to add the name, and then I had to finish the bottom border. And then this was number 7, which is Swans. And Mary Beeson and Franklin Carroll Howard are my husband's grandparents, who lived in Teresa Springs. They had a farm there. And there is no swans in Teresa Springs. And so I told y'all last time I was going to find a deer pattern, which I did. And I'll tell you the details of the pattern I used, but look how good they came out with. The only thing is that because they're a little differently shaped than the swans, I had to do some fill-ins, so I added some little leaves and stuff in the same color as the border. Just to keep that, just to make it look full. And then the H up here on top for Howard, I did change that. It was a lot bigger as an A in the original sampler, but there was no way I could get the H in there in the way that they did it. They did straight stitch, and for every square, they did 2 satin stitches over 2 threads, like up 1, 2, and that was a satin stitch. And they did 2 in each square. There's no way I could get the H in there like that. It was way too big, especially up here where it's a little closer together. So I ended up cross stitching. I mean, I fiddled with it for quite a while. So anyway, I am very happy with how that came out. I love it. I love the blue house. I mean, and the deer. So anyway, I'll tell you more about the deer pattern in a few minutes when I go over the things that I bought, because that's where that's at in my section. So here is the original pattern. You can see I changed it up quite a bit so that I could put that name in here, and then I didn't need the swans or this looks more like waves. So I continued this border down below in my piece, but I'm very happy with it. I think personalization is really important. So that is a finish. I had the other thing I finished was I have been wanting to make these skinny pillows. This is a pattern by oh my goodness, I wrote it down. Yeah, Under the Woolen Willow. Under the Woolen Willow. She has the pattern, and hers is to do it by hand. I've had this on my list of things to do since January. And I finally decided that it was the end of March and I wasn't going to do this by hand. Embroidery it by hand. But I loved it, and we have a little Thursday night meeting, me and some other friends of mine, and we meet and we talk about our goals for the year and how those things are changing, and how, you know, we just talk. We just hold each other accountable and talk about, you know, how we're working on ourselves and, you know, all that stuff. And so this is my word of the year. And so insight. And so I was able to find an Etsy machine embroidery that did this, and I'll give you the details of that in a minute. So under the Woolen Willow is where the original idea came from. And then I added the little bitty pin from, got that at Michael's. And then I had this heart button, and then I just write in the definition. I think it could be done with a computer, but I chose to handwrite it. And then I have this printed batik. Isn't that a pretty, and not sure where I got this batik, but that drove me to decide on that deep navy blue for this wording. I don't know if you can tell it or not, but that's the type of thread I used. So I did that. I did a couple more for the people in our group, and so you can see right up here where it says breathe, one of my friends' word of the year, and this one up here is surrender, and I did them both with the little buttons and the little pin. So those were very fun to make and good to get off my list. Yay. I really wanted to be able to do it, and been, like I said, too long on my list. So I'm glad that I was able to finish that this week. Yeah, so I did watch quite a few Flosstubes the last couple of weeks, and there's I found some really pretty patterns to buy, so I kind of wanted to share that with you because they're really pretty special. The first one that I bought was this one. This was shared by Kansas City Girl on her Flosstube. She actually reproduced this sampler. And what fascinated me about it is that she's celebrating a 1-year anniversary or something like that on this. And she stitched this more than one time in multiple colorways. I think she's like on the 3rd time stitching it right now. And she talks so passionately about it and loves it so much that it made me fall in love with it. But look at those colors, and I can't wait to kit this up. And then it's just, I mean, Thirza, Priscilla, Dawes, 1870, Hemlock and Rye. And so I purchased that pattern. And then watching Rogue Mama Stitcher, she talked about the summer Quaker and a birthday stitch for her friend who has a birthday in the summer. And lo and behold, I've been trying to think of a birthday sampler because my birthday's in June, the end of June. And this one was perfect because one thing, it's a Quaker, and I love a Quaker, but also look at the part in the middle. So I'm drawn to the ones that have water, you know, sea turtles, water, anything about the sea. And so I'm going to save this for a birthday start. And that is Summer Quaker by Lila's Studio. And I got that from Etsy. I believe Lila's Studio. I got it from Lila's Studio. I don't, if that's on Etsy or not. I did buy another one. I don't remember which. Several people are stitching this, but Stitchy Princess, I have several of her patterns. Etsy.com. And it's just that I love a brown rabbit, a brown bunny. I don't know why, but the brown bunnies, I buy those patterns. I haven't stitched one yet. I do have a sampler in my Anniversaries of the Heart that has a brown bunny, but anyway, I couldn't resist buying that one. And then I told you I would share with you the sampler, the deer. And so I got that off of Etsy, Sewing Seed Cross Stitch Goodness, www.sewingseed.com. And this is from Etsy. And you can see, because if you remember from my sampler, I just did this part of it. But I used the called for thread and everything. I tried out different threads, but this one was the one she recommends in that pattern is the one. It's called Handsome Buck, sewingseed.com. And so I was real thrilled to get that. Again, I was influenced by somebody on Flosstube, but I like little books. I used to have a whole set of books that were ornaments, and they were about, you know, just a little bit bigger than matchbox size. And they were ornaments, so they were Christmas books. I would hang them on my Christmas tree. I don't know what's happened to them, but anyway, this is a little book of spells. And here's the front and the back. It says charms, cures, hexes, and jinxes. Charms, cures, hexes, and jinxes here. Spells, and then book of spells. And then there's some there's a whole tutorial about how to put this together into a little booklet. But I just thought that was fun. I have a hard time resisting certain things, you know. And so small books is one of those things. And Halloween cross stitch ornament pattern and tutorial. So yeah, so I got some non-stitching related things too. I was at Joann's and they had these on for half price. And I told you a lot about my dad in the last video. And I had finished one of his pieces, crewel pieces that he had started in the early 80s. And so he was also a macrameer, and I don't have any of these pieces. I don't know if my sister does or not. She may. But, and I've seen a couple of pieces on friends' walls. And so this is Gift of Stitch DMC macrame kit. Knotted Waves macrame kit. And so I just bought that. I'll put it on my things, you know, pick it up one day when I just want to do something different. And so I also bought some things for finishing. This is a book. I told you I can't resist little books. Well, I can't resist a wooden book either. I got these at Michael's when I was ordering a frame. And this, I'm going to try to see if that kit I bought from Garon Stitchery last month, my stitching box, I'm going to see if this kit will finish on that one. And so that's what that's for. I received my cross stitch book in the mail and my magazine. And the one I thought that was fun, that really spoke to me, was this pattern here. Maybe because in my Anniversaries of the Heart, I just finished that big moth. But, I mean, moths are fascinating. And so Dance in the Moonlight, and then the little lightning bugs. And it just speaks of this time of the year. You know, being outdoors in the evening and enjoying life. And so I might pick that one up and stitch it. There's some pretty patterns in there. So the thing is that always happens is this back cover on these cross stitch magazines, because they always have Mill Hill kits on the back cover, and I'm like, I want one of those. I want one of those. You know what I mean? So that's what we do. We buy things that we want. The other thing I've worked on is I started a summer quilt. I showed you a couple of my quilts last time. I started a new one, machine embroidery, Kimberbell Spring Showers, and this is so much fun to work on. And so I buy the pattern. I don't buy the fabric. What I did was I bought a Kimberbell fat quarter bundle of fabric called Spring. It's got way more material than I need, fabric than I need for this, but it's got the colors that I need. And then I found another little fat quarter bundle somewhere else, maybe at Joann's, that had the same colors in it but had flowers on it. And so I'm able to piece together my quilt that way. And that way, if I don't buy that box of already pre-cut fabrics, I can put my own fabrics in there. So this is one of the blocks. This is clouds, and you can see this is a little chenelled. I chenelled it. I don't know what the word is. This is out of velvet, and this is just a detailed little cloud, and then the sparkly little sun, and then my machine quilting in the back, a little spring, have leaves, and I think little flowers. Yeah, little flowers and kind of swirlies like some wind. Another block is Let's Weather It Together. And then the these three umbrellas. Look at that frog. But the umbrella is actually the fabric with some iron-on vinyl over it. So it looks like a plastic umbrella. Like, it's so fun. And see the little raindrops, but isn't he cute? Look at that frog. Anyway, love the details that Kimberbell puts in their patterns. So here's the second one. Look at the pretty umbrella. Don't you just love a pretty umbrella? And then the wind and then here, my favorite one. Look at the bees. I found that bee fabric. Perfect. Perfect. Love it, love it, love it. So I've been working on that. I started that this week. Hopefully I'll get done with that in a couple of weeks and be able to show you a finish. But yeah, I'm loving my machine embroidery you know, it gives me that balance of a cross-stitch piece that takes hours and hours and hours, you know, and sometimes years. And then I can balance that out with a quilt that I can get done in a month or 6 weeks, you know. The thing about that, those quilts that were really big last week, those take a little bit longer. This one's wall hanging size, so it'll be not take me quite so long. But getting to it is, you know, worked on it for one afternoon and one evening, and I've got those done. So I'm looking forward to continuing on with that. So I was so blessed by you all. Such nice comments. It made me feel so good. Very motivating. It's like I would have never known. But I spoke a lot in my last video about connections. And this is part of it, right? I'm making connections with you all. You all are making connections with me. And so, yeah, so I did have a couple of comments. Sweet Teresa offered if I wanted to share my pieces with somebody, to give her a call. She put her phone number. And so I'll probably be giving her a call and see if we can maybe set up a Zoom or something and share with each other. She doesn't live anywhere near me, so we would have to do it by phone or Zoom. I'm looking forward to that. And then Sue told me about 2 places that sell cross-stitch supplies in Texas. Under the Sea Fabrics, I know I've heard of Under the Sea Fabrics. They have hand-dyed fabrics, and I almost bought a piece the other day, but I got a little overwhelmed, so I have to go back and check on it and order some of their fabric, though. And then Tin Smith's Life and Comfort. The thing about Texas is it's a drive to get anywhere. So I don't mind. It's just part of living in Texas. But I hope to be able to go visit those places someday. I had an international comment from Judy in Australia. One from Corpus Christi. Her name is Mary Ann. We're actually planning to meet. Final details haven't been quite, but we've narrowed it down to probably Thursday at 10. So actually meet, and she wants to join some kind of, to make some kind of stitchy club too. She is 361 Stitcher. Now I should have known, because 361 is the area code for this area in Texas, and so I should have known she was close by when I remember hearing about her on Instagram before. So 361 Stitcher on Instagram. Anyway, Mary Ann and I are gonna get to meet, and we're gonna start something. I just can feel it. Stitching Granny, what a delightful person. She gave me such good advice. She told me that I had to open up my Instagram account to public so that y'all could join me. And she also has been talking to me about how to get rid of those ads, because I did get a comment or two about too many ads, and I agree. I just didn't know how to do it, but now I think I've got it, so I'm hoping that this video won't have all those ads. But Stitching Granny has been so much help to me. Thank you, Stitching Granny. And then SW told me about the turtles all the way down. Is a Hindu myth where the world is built on the back of a turtle. So I did a little research, and indeed she's right. There's several different versions of how and where that turtles all the way down came about, but it's fascinating to read about. It's a quick read. It's not a history book. It's just several different theories about where that came from. So in my version, the ink circles version that I stitched, just a big turtle at the top and then little bitty turtle at the bottom. So this is reversed, where the big turtle, and then there's most of the mythology includes elephants, and then the world is a flat half of an oval or a circle that's on top of those elephants. The elephants and the turtle are holding the world up. So that's fun to read about. Thank you, SW, for that information. And then I did catch a new Flosstuber, Deborah Carol Stitcher. She has her first Flosstuber out. There's several of us out there. So it's just happening. This is such a growing community, and no wonder now that I'm part of it and involved like I am, I can see why. I can see why we all want to join. It's a good thing. So yeah, so I do make sure I'm not seeing that I've forgotten anything. I do thank you all for your comments, and I try to comment on the videos that I watch. I figure if I spend 45 minutes of something that you built, that the least I can do is make a comment. And so it's fun for me. And just the things you see out there, the things that we are doing, we are making pretty things. Making pretty things. Something that's so fun to do. So I do have some plans. I did catch another Flosstube #1 that's just less than a week old, and it's Mrs. Smith Stitches. I'm going to put all this information in the details, but Mrs. Smith Stitches. So I'm going to watch her. I'm going to have a new start this week, and I have been finding myself like in the middle of the night watching Flosstubes, but the things that I'm watching are the full designs, the Haid, H-A-E-D, those kind of full designs. And so I've got a couple of those patterns charted by H-A-E-D, Haid, and I have one that's a sea turtle, of course. So I'm gonna start that one. It's just gonna be one of those days where that's what I do for that day, because there's so much. I will tell you that the videos I watch, these people get really technical, these Flosstubers. And so you have to appreciate what they're doing, and the tutorials they're offering. That's so fascinating to me. So I'm going to start one of those. I'm going to continue on with my quilt. I'm going to finish Anniversaries of the Heart, because that's a monthly finish. And then who knows what I'll finish in addition. I'll leave myself with those things, and then that gives me the ability to fill in with things that I need to fill in. So I know I've got some family time planned. I did invite family over this evening for King Ranch chicken casserole, yummy. I am a fitness trainer, a functional aging specialist, so I coach small groups of people over 50, and we try real hard to stay fit. One of the things that we do is physical training, but we also, our group offers challenges about 4 times a year where we practice healthy eating, in this case for 28 days. And so we have a menu that is planned specifically for that. Lots of real food, eating rather than processed food. So I'll be participating in that for 28 days after today. It starts tomorrow. And then I have a weekend where it's probably the weekend that I probably should be doing my next Flosstube. Is my daughter and her husband are going on a trip. So I'm going to get to watch the 9-year-old. And so I'm going to go to Pleasanton, Texas and take her to school and do all the things, you know, that mamas do plus grandmas do. It's a little different to be a grandma, right? And so I'm looking forward to that. And my son has a birthday coming up this week. He will be 24. He's the baby. And so, and he knows it. Wonderful young man. He works in Phoenix, Arizona as a registered behavior therapist. So what he does is he works with children who have autism, and he works under a certified behavior analyst. And and they work in a clinic setting, and he has just blossomed in that field, and we're just so very proud of him. His name is Gregory. And then so lots of things going on, lots of things. The other thing is that I do want to share again this week. And if you are interested in having one of these and sharing with me your word of the year, or it could be any word that you want this pillow made out of. I still have some more of this. This is that beautiful batik. And if you are interested in having one of these, I'm going to give away 2 of these. So just in the comment that you make, use the word pillow. And I will use that random generator magic thing, and will find 2 people to give one of these away for. And then we'll be in contact about which word you want. And I'll make those pillows for you and get them to you. So that's what I want to give away this week. I had so much fun making them. I want to make more, so you're going to give me that opportunity. Full of opportunities, aren't we? And then, of course, I'm going to meet with Marianne, 361 Stitcher, and possibly Teresa by Zoom. We're going to figure that out. We'll see what else happens in the next 2 weeks. I appreciate each one of you, and I will tell you. Oh, wait, I didn't do my FFO. Oh my goodness, you got to see this. I'm so proud of this. This is an old finish that never got FFO'd, and I ordered the frame. It's a custom frame from Michael's, but I put it on myself. And so you can see here, I did my initials, but also I put the year 1997. I don't know if that's upside down or what. Anyway, this was from a magazine, like a Family Circle or something like that. I have no idea. But if I finished it in 1997, that was quite a while ago. This beautiful Christmas piece, red work. And oh, I just love it. So I love the way this came out. The lady at Michael's helped me pick out the mats and the frame. And I put it all together, and I will tell you, I followed Elizabeth Ann Can Stitch. She has a tutorial about how to pin that fabric onto the foam board, and then how, you know, to work with it. She shows how to work with it and get it centered. And then she shows how to do all this, you know, make it really nice on the back and everything. So I followed her, and she has a very clear-cut tutorial that I was surprised. I surprised myself. So little pins, you pin the fabric into the foam board to keep it in place instead of doing the threading. And so that's what I did, and I'm going to really enjoy this now. that I have it framed. And Christmas will come and I will have a place to hang that. And so you'll probably be seeing more of it on my walls. So yeah, so comment below, pillows, recommend me to your friends, subscribe, like, all that stuff, you know, that makes it possible for Flosstube to just be the best community, the best YouTube community in the world. So appreciate each of you, and I look forward to hearing your comments, reading your comments, and I look forward to growing a group, Stitchy group with Marianne. Lots of excitement. You guys have a good 2 weeks. Make something pretty and share with me on Instagram. See you in 2 weeks. Bye.